Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's time to start talking about flags again. Minnesota just changed theirs to one of the most boring and most uninspiring in the entire union. As much as I hate seals on bedsheets, I don't understand why it was necessary to change it to probably the most boring, awkward, uninspiring, no meaning whatsoever besides that one star that you got over there, being the North Star State. But we're not here to roast Minnesota's flag. In fact, we're here to roast a controversy surrounding a flag. Because unfortunately, my own country is apparently too uneducated to recognize one of our important symbols of our nation's history, and arguably one of the great symbols of U.S. history and American freedom and liberty. The Appeal to Heaven flag. Now, obviously, I've made videos like this before. There's this one story last year where a kid from a school got in trouble by his own principal and by the school board to the point where the governor of his own state has to have his own back. This kid got in trouble by the school because he had a Gadsden flag on his book bag. And a lot of people have claimed that the Gadsden flag, just because it was seen in Charlottesville, just because it's seen in Trump rallies, and just because it was spotted on January 6th, that flag is problematic. That flag is evil. And they completely misrepresent the history, saying that this is a flag of slavery, this is a flag of racism, it's a flag that Nazis apparently fly. So if you fly that yellow no-step-on-sneck flag that you got on your property, you are the problem. Now again, as I mentioned in that video, the Gadsden flag is not racist, okay? The Don't Tread on Me flag is not racist. If anything, it is the exact opposite of racist. It is not a hate symbol, and if it is a hate symbol, then it's hate towards government. There are many different variations of it. There's a pro-abortion version of it. There is a pan-African version of it. There is an LGBTQ version of the Don't Tread on Me flag. This was one of the original flags that the Continental Army used as a warning to the British government, don't you mess with us. You are taxing us to fucking oblivion. You are abusing our rights. You are abusing our free speech rights. We don't have representation. We don't have freedom. We don't have fucking anything because of you guys. So you know what? We're gonna declare our independence, even if it means fighting you guys. That's what the Gadsden flag meant. It was one of the first ever U.S. flags created, even before the Betsy Ross flag. And that's also another unnecessarily controversial flag in its own right. But when the United States declared independence, it did not have an official flag. The only flag a British colony was allowed to have was the Union Jack. And the Gadsden flag was one of those de facto official flags of the United States. But there was also another flag that was flown during the American Revolution, and that is the Appeal to Heaven flag. Now, the story goes is that Samuel Alito, one of our Supreme Court justices, is currently under scrutiny by a lot of people, mainly because on his property, a picture surfaced on his house of two flags, one of them being an upside-down U.S. flag, and the other being that same Appeal to Heaven flag. Now, no surprise, Alito is a conservative justice. He was appointed in 2006 by President George W. Yes, it is very fair that a neocon will appoint another neocon in the Supreme Court. And the fact that he's a conservative Supreme Court justice, it is fair that the left will find any possible excuses to call him out and attack him. And of course, what better way to do this than to look at the flags that he is waving on his property? Now, the upside-down American flag I can get by. I understand that argument. The only reason why a nation should fly its flag upside down is only when they are in distress. Now, obviously, the United States has its fucking issues. Of course, the administration that is currently occupying the White House, the inflation issues, war is literally breaking out everywhere and whatnot. Nobody really can afford shit. So yeah, of course, our country's not necessarily in the greatest shape right now. But I don't necessarily think that we're in complete detrimental levels right now. These are all pretty much fixable issues. But the only reason to fly a flag upside down should be when the country is in an actual state of distress. Not when you are distressed. So do I have a problem with that? Yeah, kinda I do. It's the same situation that happened right when Trump got elected, where liberals and leftists were waving the US flag upside down. I mean, we've seen this literally happen before. When a president gets elected and it's the president that some of the people don't want, the people who are against that president wave the US flag upside down. When Trump got elected in 2016, liberals and Democrats were waving the US flag upside down. When Biden got elected, conservatives and Republicans were waving the US flag upside down. It is what it is. That's usually what happens. Now, do I like it when people do that? No. I think it's stupid. But at the same time, I think it's their freedom of speech, and it's my freedom of speech to call them a fucking idiot. So I understand the complaints from that. Does it make him a fascist or an insurrectionist? No. It makes Alito look ignorant, but that doesn't necessarily make him a traitor or a racist insurrectionist of some sort. That's not true. Now, the biggest issue I do have is the complaints I'm getting about the Appeal to Heaven flag that is spotted on Alito's property. Much like with the Gadsden flag, I've been hearing a boatload of people on Twitter, on TikTok, pretty much everywhere, of people saying, "Oh my God, is that the pine tree flag? And it says Appeal to Heaven? That sounds like a flag of Christian fascism. That's Christian nationalism. Oh my God, it was also flown on January 6th. Samuel Alito is a Nazi that deserves to be in fucking hell. Call up Adam and his executioners to go out and exterminate his ass once he reaches hell." That's literally the reactions I'm getting over the Appeal to Heaven flag. So, okay, I guess because it's not the US flag automatically means that this flag is problematic. Alright, the Gadsden flag, up, Trump supporters wave it, it's racist. The Betsy Ross flag, that was also spotted on January 6th, that's a racist flag. The Canadian Red Ensign is there, that flag was flown on January 6th by Trump supporters. Time to demonize those people who have a Canadian Red Ensign. And now, the Appeal to Heaven flag, just because it was flown on January 6th, that flag's automatically a fascist flag. Get a grip. The Appeal to Heaven flag is not racist. It is not fascist. It is not Christian nationalism. It's just a historic US flag that was used during the American Revolution. The Appeal to Heaven flag has historical roots in the American Revolutionary War. It was used by the Massachusetts Navy, and in fact, it was the original naval ensign of the Continental Army of Massachusetts, led by George Washington as its commander-in-chief. It's a white flag which features a pine tree at the middle, which the pine tree is the symbol of New England. Massachusetts, especially its capital of Boston, is the focal point and central hub of New England, so that makes sense as why it is a pine tree that was used. But it's a white flag with a pine tree in the middle and the words, "An Appeal to Heaven," written on it. Now, this was obviously one of the more lesser-known flags in the American Revolution, but that's not to say that the flag was never important. There were millions of flags that were used during the American Revolution. The origin of the Appeal to Heaven flag is unknown, and not many people really knew what it looked like. This, what you're seeing right here, is pretty much the best that we got. But the flag did play an important role in the American Revolution, as it symbolized a call for divine aid in the struggle for independence, and it's associated with early American patriotism. Now, this flag today is a de facto symbol of New England. I mean, it served as the original naval ensign of the Massachusetts Navy during the American Revolution. Nowadays, you'd see it in patriot parades during the 4th of July. You see it on some boats up in Massachusetts. The flag even made its way down to the South Pole at some point for some reason. But now, because Justice Alito has this flag on his own property, and that it was used in January 6th, this flag is now automatically fascistic in some way. There is absolutely nothing racist, nothing fascistic, and nothing offensive about the Appeal to Heaven flag whatsoever. There just isn't. And the meltdowns that I'm seeing from leftoids and the legacy media is just unnecessary and ridiculous. Again, I have a Gadsden flag in my room. Does that make me racist? No. It's the exact opposite. Was it flown during Charlottesville and January 6th? Yes, it was. But that's only 0.1% of people that actually fly that flag. The fact that people are drawing comparisons of the Appeal to Heaven flag and the Gadsden flag to, like, I don't know, the Confederate flag or the Nazi flag, to me, it's mind-boggling. You're talking about two of the most anti-racist, anti-fascist, anti-Nazi, and anti-tyranny flags that you can possibly think of. Why call somebody a Nazi just because they have a Gadsden flag? Why call somebody a Nazi or an insurrectionist because they have the Appeal to Heaven flag? It's because there's just nothing racist or offensive about it whatsoever. Where's the racist messaging on the Appeal to Heaven flag? Where's the racist messaging on the Betsy Ross flag? Where's the racist messaging on the Green Mountain Boys flag? That was flown on January 6th. Or the South Vietnam flag. Is that flag racist? Does that flag make someone an insurrectionist? South Vietnam was the capitalist, free, Western counterpart of North Vietnam, which got invaded and is now just one communist Vietnam. Saigon is now called Ho Chi Minh City. A lot of Vietnamese people that live here that fled communism. Are those people a threat to democracy because they have a flag that was flown on January 6th? Like, to me, this is mind-boggling. That's literally the life of being terminally online and being part of the legacy media. Just find something non-offensive to be offended by. The Appeal to Heaven flag is now offensive because Samuel Alito was flying it, a conservative Supreme Court justice was flying it. It was also flown on January 6th by a bunch of so-called insurrectionists, so you're automatically an insurrectionist just because you have an Appeal to Heaven flag. Emojis are racist now for some miraculous reason. The Owl House is problematic because there's a lot of LGBTQ representation in there. Both main characters are lesbians and they love each other and have feelings for each other. Oh, and because it takes place in a demon realm, for some reason, the Owl House is also going to make your kid worship the devil. Oh, and don't forget milk. That's offensive too. If you drink milk, then you're racist because it's white and people of color are more likely to be lactose intolerant. Drinking milk also makes you an anti-Semitic Nazi because Jews are not allowed to mix meat and dairy, and Jews are also more likely to be lactose intolerant as well. So if you drink milk, you are a racist Nazi. Well, I guess I have to cut dairy out of my diet because apparently I was told by the legacy media that it makes me racist. Does that make all of India racist? Because they like paneer? India, by the way, does have the world's largest dairy herd with over 300 million cattle and sheep, all producing over 187 million metric tons of milk each year. And don't forget about the yogurts and milk that they have there too. Man, Indian food's underrated, let me tell you that. But they got enough dairy to pretty much feed the entire world 5 times. So let's call that entire country racist because milk is apparently racist now. It's also a Hindu nation, and a lot of the other East Asian countries are also majority Buddhist. Oh yeah, and would you look at that? There's a swastika on this Buddha. All Buddhists are Nazis now, even though that is literally not the only symbol Buddhism has. There are millions of other symbols in Buddhism that mean exactly the same thing. The forbidden one is not the only one. This is offensive, this is racist, this is racist, this dude's a Nazi because of this, that symbol is racist because of that, this flag is racist, that flag is racist. Did Hitler win in the Second World War? I mean, did the South win the Civil War? Because you're making it sound like that half the world's population are apparently neo-Nazis and white supremacists for some reason. Meanwhile, people are saying that the other half are communists. What about the ones who are neither of those two groups? Common sense is critically endangered. So yeah, the Appeal to Heaven flag is not problematic. Just because you have the Appeal to Heaven flag does not make you a threat to democracy. Just because a conservative Supreme Court justice has that exact flag on his property does not make the flag problematic. Just because it was flown on January 6th does not make the flag insurrectionist. And just because it has the words "an appeal to heaven" written on it doesn't make it a Christian nationalist flag. And by the way, Christianity is not the only religion that believes in heaven. Heaven also exists in Islam and Judaism as well. I'm just sick of the fact that any American Revolution flag that was used in the Revolutionary War that is not the American flag is considered problematic, is racist, and or is insurrectionist just because people were flying it on January 6th. Like, what if the LGBTQ flag was flown on January 6th? What if we see a Supreme Court justice waving the LGBTQ progress flag on their property? What tune are you going to be singing then? I get that the flag is now associated with rioting and looting and burning down buildings, But again, much like with the Gadsden flag on Charlottesville, that's only 1% of that flag's use. Nobody should be demonized for waving a historic US flag or any historic flag or any flag that is not the US flag. All of the American Revolution flags are not racist. That includes the Betsy Ross flag, the Gadsden flag, and the Appeal to Heaven flag. Those are not racist. There are only 4 flags that are actually evil and problematic and deserve to be scorned for what they are. And those are the Confederate flag, the ISIS flag, the Nazi flag, and the Soviet flag. And the upside down flag that was spotted on Alito's property is just fucking stupid and ignorant. And yes, deserves to be called an idiot for it. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias. Links are in the description below, including my Twitter/X, which is where I'm the most active. That is at AXY0M. Share this video around with your friends, families, boyfriends, girlfriends, enemies, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you were to share this video with whomever you know. And I'd like to know what you guys think about this whole situation, so leave all your thoughts down in the comment section down below, as I always end the conversation down to you at the end of every single video. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Appeal to Heaven is an offensive flag? Do you think you're far right for having the Appeal to Heaven flag? Is this a flag of Christian nationalism? Do you think this flag is being slandered for the wrong reasons? Is Samuel Alito a far-right idiot for having an Appeal to Heaven flag on his property? Is waving and having an Appeal to Heaven flag freedom of speech? Again, leave all your thoughts, opinions, and feedback in the comment section down below, as I always end the conversation down to you. Let me know what you think. Discord server, still a work in progress. Haven't found any people to help me out yet, and I am still searching. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You're awesome.